Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News, coming to you from my mobile setup here in Seattle. Here for a couple of days for a stand-up comedy show. But we've got Tino revealing new information regarding his breakup with Rachel Recchia. I'm going to share what he said on Courtney Robertson's new podcast, After Reality. Very fascinating stuff. It's been nearly a year, pretty much a whole year since his this whole breakup went down. He kissed someone else and then confessed to Rachel. Well, now what he's saying is they tried to talk about it, and Rachel said, let's wait till the cameras are here. And then he feels like it was a total ambush. We're going to get into that story right now, but do me a favor. If you're in the Seattle area or have any friends in the Seattle area, tonight is the night. Final tickets are on sale right now for the stand-up show. Be at 8:30 tonight in Mission Hill. Do I have that right? Capitol Hill? Capitol Hill. So if you want to come to that show, tickets are a link in my bio on Instagram. You can go to linktree.com/Dave Neal or a link in the comment section below. All right, I've got several clips I'm going to play for you guys. Please, I encourage you, go check out this podcast for the full conversation. You can really hear a side of Tino that is not as bad as we might have thought a year ago. There's even questions over the timeline of whether or not Rachel and Tino were still dating when he confessed that he kissed somebody else. And you might say, well, if they weren't even dating, why was this a big story? And it's like, well, maybe he just wanted to get out of this mess. And either way, we're going to listen to what he has to say and then try to piece together the details.
Because it was like, oh shit, this must be a problem with me because I can't make a relationship last longer than X amount of time, which totally have unpacked that one, or at least have mostly unpacked that one to where it doesn't bother me anymore. But that got in my head really bad. And it was definitely during the Happy Couples, and it hit its climax like right as the show started airing.
Oh, wow.
And but I think before then I was less aware, but she probably did realize, oh wow, like this guy is very different than me. He has a lot of different hobbies and, you know, doesn't want to do X, Y, and Z and wants to work and do this and live here. And I think like it definitely in hindsight, certain stuff kind of reveals itself that, oh man, like me and this person have sexual chemistry. We can make each other laugh, but like a perfect day for each of us looks completely different. That's interesting.
Wow.
And it's little stuff like that that I think added up, and probably the going pressure and media attention of being a lead probably just got her out of the headspace of being really into me, and with me already struggling with the timeline, the unlovable stuff, and all these other things which totally aren't her problem. You know, it just kind of created an implosion, I think, in my own confidence in the relationship. And at a certain point, it was, I think I pretty much convinced myself we weren't in one, or
Yeah.
the rules of one kind of didn't apply.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to realize Tino's giving us a look at his headspace in the moment. So when he says the rules didn't apply, that's not an excuse so much as him saying, I just felt like that we weren't even together anymore. Now, what could happen that could lead someone to feeling like they weren't together anymore? Is that something a cheater says afterwards? Oh, we weren't even dating. Or was it an interesting and unique scenario where they actually did stop dating and they weren't allowed to be out in public? So their breakup, what the hell could have gone down there? And I really do feel like we're piecing it all together, because I think Tino's doing a good job of not completely throwing Rachel under the bus here. But he's saying, well, I had all these hobbies and things, and he's kind of making it seem like she wanted his full attention. And as I've always hypothesized, it feels like the weight of the show was crippling her. These are just my thoughts. And because of that, he became less a partner and more a therapy tool. These are just my thoughts, guys. Because right now it's like fan fiction until we get all sides.
Feelings that grow and possibilities that grow. So I think
Actually, let's go to the 30-minute mark here. We're going to go to the 30-minute mark here and then hear what he has to say. The whole scene where he takes his shirt off and where they're fighting at the happy house visit, where they had their official breakup. This is where things really get off the rails.
Conversations where he couldn't get a word in, or he wanted to be very accurate with what was going on, like that. Are you that type of
Yeah.
person? Is that why you brought the
Yeah,
journal?
I'm really forgetful, so a lot of the time I have journals in general.
There you
But
have it, people.
my therapist was
So these are the journals, the journal that he brought to the show where he essentially gets dumped. He was trying to read excerpts from his journal, and this is like as he said, it blew up in his face. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, he's trying to like provide receipts or this or that." When in fact he was just trying to, have a coping mechanism to a tough conversation, so he remembered what he wanted to say.
telling me like kind of write down bad thoughts so they escape your head.
Mm.
So like when something that would like pressure, like hit a nerve or hurt my feelings, like I'd write it down so I'd stop thinking about it. And it wasn't like so much that I wanted to bring receipts of like, oh, you did shitty things to me. It
Right.
was more just
And she
I
took it
wanted
that
to make
way.
sure, yeah, but that, I mean, again, if I knew that's how that was going to come off, I wouldn't have brought it.
Right.
But I also think I kind of walked into a no-win situation on that one, anyways. But yeah, I mean, the journal was just more so like I just wanted to be like, hey, like this is
My
because I
recollection.
was asked repeatedly, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And I'm like, look, like I don't want to ramble. I ramble. I forget things all the time. I just wanted to kind of be like, look, here were the things that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that I was hearing that I interpreted, whatever, imagined at this point, who knows. And this got me to a really dark place. And that's why I did what I did.
Wow. Well, I really felt for you in that moment. And I'm thankful that they never recorded any of our happy couples or posts, stuff like that. So we have to talk about the famous scene when you're filming after the season and you go outside, you rip your shirt off, the cameras come and find you, and you've taken your mic off. The look on your face was priceless. Like, and I just have to talk about it. My girlfriend and I watch and we always dish about it. And she's like, oh my God, that guy is so hot. So I feel like that was probably a really long conversation. I mean, we only got to see a fraction of it. But what was making you so like, I just got to get out of here? Was there anything that you can recall? Because it kind of, as a viewer watching it, I'm like, what am I missing here? You know?
Yeah. So a lot of my decisions during that breakup scene were kind of driven by being in this big whirlwind of, oh my gosh, I just effed up, an engagement. Oh my God, I love her. This sucks. She's so upset. Like, is she going to break it off? Does she actually want to work on it? And I had friends who were encouraging me and being like, if you don't go and try to fix it and give it your all, you're going to regret it forever because you.
But little did his friends know he was going to be walking into a lion's nest here. Is that the right term? When he shows up and realizes that there wasn't going to be any sort of good faith conversation to get the relationship back in order. So as he describes in the podcast, people said, how could he cheat and then just expect to get back together? As he describes, he doesn't feel like they were back together. He feels like through their communication, she had made it seem like they were broken up, but it was his fault for not doing a better job of understanding that boundary and saying, so we're going to date different people. So they never had the so we're going to date different people conversation, which leads to the whole, Friends Ross scenario where we were on a break. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you date others, this or that? So it wasn't like they were in a happy place when he kissed someone else. And then afterwards, the reason why he wanted to confess is because not only did they they got back together. They reconnected their relationship, and he was like, "Oh, just so you know, this happened," and then all of a sudden, he didn't get the right response he wanted. Why did he confess in the first place? Says he's waking up, panicking, thinking he's going to be outed, so he just wanted to clear his conscience. Again, this is for a kiss.
Always want to, like, at least try, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then it's not meant to be. So I went in and clearly had a very bad strategy about it, bringing the journal and all that kind of stuff. So it was going understandably really poorly, and I was getting kind of flustered because we just could not, it never seemed like, both sides were on the same page with like what they wanted out of the conversation. So at that point, I felt like I was just worn out, swimming upstream, trying to get some semblance of, I want to work this out, or I want to end up with you. And it just kind of hit a breaking point for me. I think in the scene, I walked out a couple times. It was
Yes.
because, like, I wanted to gather myself, gather my thoughts, not get emotional, avoid getting into any finger pointing as much as I could, and try to come off, like, and get the message across, like, hey, I want to work this out. I want to find some ground where we can walk away with her saying, you know what, you effed up, but I want to work through this, or I'm not done with you yet. Let's see if we can work through this in the next couple weeks, next couple months, whatever it took. And I don't remember what she said, but it just struck a nerve where I was like, okay. And I may or may not have been correct on this, but at that point, I think I kind of like just had the thought in my head, okay, this is nothing more than kind of a crucifixion, or at least that's how it felt at the time. So I was like, I'm done here. I walked outside. I called my friend who
You
was
ripped your
encouraging me
mic
to,
off.
yeah, I ripped my mic off. I called my friend. I said, look, I really wanted this to work out. It does not seem like that's in the cards. Should I just walk out of here? And he kind of talked me off the ledge, just kind of said, hey, just see it through, you never know what'll happen. Turns out I was right. It, was headed towards towards ground zero, but I'm glad I saw it through. I'm glad I didn't just leave her hanging, or anybody hanging on that.
When she
But
wasn't
it
like,
was
she
really
was
tough.
pretty adamant about not being together. It seemed like she went in there with a mission, and you guys weren't seeing eye to eye on anything.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, of course, except for yours and a couple other
Oh,
great
Tino.
ones. But
Bachelor Rush Hour.
I'm sure some part of her, maybe if I came in and just started begging, and maybe there was some way that she would have been open to it, but watching it back, I certainly think what you think, where I don't think there, especially after seeing that, her and the other co-star had a conversation before I got there, which I was not savvy to, or what she said on stage before I came on at AFR. I don't really think there was any way that we were going to walk out of there together, but I'm glad I went in and tried.
Hey, I commend you for that.
Yeah, so then he says, how bad can I make you look? That's how it felt to him. Like, how bad are they going to make me look? And the truth is, that's exactly what the producers were going to do. How much of that is something that, Rachel co-signed is a different conversation.
In the situation where I already did my stupid thing, knowing that what I did was, to a lot of people, pretty gray area, or not even something wrong, and getting the electric chair for it on national TV. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I would have done everything. Like, I mean, the
Tino, that
punishment
is
was
so
so
funny.
absurd. Like, it's like
Oh my God.
the like good person in me wants to say like, oh, like, and I am like, I'm really proud of myself for having that conviction to be like, look, I don't know what you did, like, I don't know if what you did was definitively cheating, but it wasn't cool. And if you want a future with this girl, you should tell her. That way you guys can move forward and not have this like lurking secret that could come out at any moment.
Mhm.
You should just tell her because she deserves to know.
So he says it wasn't definitively cheating because the relationship wasn't definitively together. What are your thoughts on all this? When I get Tino on Driving with Dave, I'm sure going to ask him a few follow-up questions, although I think Courtney Robertson did a fantastic job here. I encourage everyone to go listen to the full episode, and just remember, when we watch things on reality TV, we don't always have the full story. It's sad that it took a full year for Tino to want to come out and share all of this, but that's a result of, knowing that he was kind of in the center of a pretty serious witch hunt there. So Tino has proven that he's not out for clout. He's just doing his job, and he's over there in Newport Beach surfing and living his life. What do you guys think? Please leave me a comment. And also, if you're in the Seattle area, don't forget tonight is the stand-up show, and I will see you guys then. We'll have a meet and greet after. It'll be a ton of fun. I'll be back later on with more content. I'm actually heading over to King 5, which is the Seattle NBC morning show. So I'll be on at the 11 a.m. hour. I'll post some clips of that if you want to see what morning TV Dave looks like. Time to go shower and fix my hair. We'll be back right after this.